Ever wonder what a real professional trade looks like from the inside? From start to finish? Today, we're going to break it all down. We're actually using a university-level trading project as our guide, our blueprint, if you will. From that first little spark of an idea all the way to the final result. So let's dive in.
And really, this is the big question, right? What's the difference between just throwing a dart at a board and making a truly calculated trade? I mean, anyone can hit buy and hope for the best, but a real trade, that's built on a foundation, a blueprint. It's a repeatable process that guides every single move you make. And that's exactly what we're going to map out right now.
All right, so phase one. Before you even think about putting a single dollar on the line, it's all about just watching. You've got to read the room, Understand the story the chart is trying to tell you. And it all begins with one simple thing, just spotting the trend.
And one of the most classic telltale signs of an uptrend is this simple pattern right here, higher highs and higher lows. I absolutely love the staircase analogy because it's just perfect. You see how each peak is a step up from the last one, and each little valley or low is also higher than the one before it. Seeing this pattern is usually the very first piece of the puzzle, the first bit of evidence you need to start building your case for a trade. Okay, so once you've spotted a potential trend, everything shifts. This is where the game really changes. We stop being just a passive observer, and we start thinking like an active participant. This is phase two, and it's all about taking what you've seen and forging it into a solid, actionable plan.
And that plan? It really just boils down to these three things, and these are non-negotiable. First, your entry. Where exactly are you getting in? Second, your stop loss. Where do you get out if you're wrong? And third, your take profit. Where are you cashing in your chips if you're right? And here's the most important part. All three of these have to be decided, locked in, before you even think about clicking that buy button.
Here's a little secret that really separates the beginners from the pros. Amateurs, they get obsessed with finding the perfect entry point. But professionals, they're obsessed with their exits. Knowing exactly where you're getting out, whether it's for a small loss or for a nice win, that's what turns a gamble into an actual strategy.
A great way to think about your two exits is like this. The stop loss, that's your defense. It's your safety net, your shield. It's what protects you from a really bad day. The take profit, on the other hand, that's your offense. That's your target, the goal you're aiming for. It makes sure you actually lock in those gains based on your plan, not on a whim or some emotion that pops up in the moment.
But wait, the trade isn't actually over just because you've closed it. Whether you won or you lost, the job's not finished. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important part, phase three, the review. This is where the real learning happens. This is how you turn every single outcome into a valuable lesson.
And look, your review, your debrief, it doesn't have to be some super complicated thesis. It really just comes down to two simple questions. First, okay, why did I get into this trade in the first place? Go back to your original logic. And second, what was the actual result? When you compare the plan to the reality, you create this incredible feedback loop. And that's what's absolutely essential for actually getting better over time.
And when you zoom out, it really all comes down to this one idea. The goal is not to win every single trade. I mean, come on, that's just a fantasy. The real goal is to follow a solid process, a good blueprint on every trade. Because when you focus on the process with discipline, the results, well, they have a funny way of taking care of themselves over the long run.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint, from A to Z. From spotting that initial trend, to building out your whole plan of attack, and finally, to doing that all-important final review. Now, the question I really want to leave you with is this. Looking at all these pieces, which one do you think is the most important? Where is a trade's fate really sealed? Something to chew on. Thanks for hanging out with me today.